Hey guys, welcome back again. I'm sorry I was experiencing a very bad connection earlier. Now the connection seems to be good. So I hope you are doing well. Can you send some upvotes, some comments? I'm not seeing anybody live. Very few people. Yeah, hi. Yeah, now I can see comments. I can see the numbers rising. Yeah, so PT preparation in full flow. We are sitting on the 15th of June. You are left with a couple of days. So please take good amount of rest. Don't burden your brain with too much of preparation, the last minute preparation. This is to be done, that is to be done. ये भी रिवाइज करना है, वो भी रिवाइज करना है, geography भी पढ़नी है, history भी पढ़ना है, economics भी पढ़ना है. Don't burden yourself right now. Whatever has been done has been done. Now last minute you won't be able to achieve anything except for the pressure. So you just need to take good amount of rest. Day after tomorrow, don't touch your books. Just take good amount of rest. Have a good night's sleep. Sleep for at least 8 hours, and then go and appear for the paper for your examination. All the best for that. We might not get enough time to meet you again, but I'm wishing you all the best. So we would be coming out with the solutions after the examination. That is for the later part. I have recently completed a million views on an academy, and I'm counting more than 130,000 followers on my personal profile. Thanks to all of you, you have contributed to it. So I'm indebted to you. I'm thankful to you. Whatever comments, whatever recommendations you give, whatever blessings you send, it's a result of all that. So it's all because of you. Again, heartfelt thanks to all of you. So a little about the journey with an academy. The journey with an academy has been quite painful. So it's not that. Obviously it wasn't just. So it's quite exhilarating, enriching, quite eventful. It's enriching. You get to meet so many talented people. You know how much you do not know, how much more you wish to know, want to know, in terms of teaching, in terms of content delivery, in terms of upgrading your own knowledge, in terms of meeting so many people who know so much. There are so many talented people. So the journey has been quite good. When I started out at that point of time, and I always say this even on Quora and many other places, that Roman had taken the entire burden of giving education or of recording videos for the candidates all by himself. He was doing all subjects by himself, whether history, art and culture, etc., etc. So I just called him up once and I asked him that why don't you, diversify and ask someone else to do it. So he said that no, not other people might not be able to understand the vision with which he's doing it. So I'm happy that I was given an opportunity then, and it has led to this, that today I can reap the benefits, I can see the results, and it is quite an enriching journey. So thanks to all of you again. Now, the purpose of today's live session was first to give you the greetings, and secondly, ask you not to take much pressure, and thirdly, to discuss the monetary policy review that took place approximately 10 days back by the Reserve Bank of India. So, as you know, that monetary policy review takes place once in 2 months. It happened last time, it happened in the month of April, and now it has taken place in the month of June for the 2 months, April and May, right? So there were certain developments in terms that nothing was changed. That was also a development. Why was that done? This can be important for prelims, not because it was done this time, but because it was being planned for a very long period of time and it might appear in the paper, right? So the policy review by Reserve Bank of India, the outlook of the economy that RBI stated is that the GDP growth of this particular year and specifically of these quarters is not going to be up to the mark. So the exact words were of Mr. Urjit Patel: the GDP slowdown is more due to the fundamental factors that the government and policymakers need to address. So fundamental factors means lack of proper rainfall, lack of proper transportation, lack of employment opportunities, and not because of demonetization. So many people said that because of demonetization, the growth is slow, but that's not the case. There are many other factors that work for slow growth, and it highlighted the fundamental factors. So it said that RBI has seen the inflation rising to 3.5 to 4.5% in the second half of the financial year 2017-18. So 2017-18, the financial year which we are in, The second half starts from the 1st of October and it would range up till the 31st of March. So we see the RBI inflation anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5%. This is a prediction that has been given. Further, it went on to say that the Monetary Policy Committee is focused to keep the CPI inflation rate at 4%, something that was recommended by our present governor, erstwhile inflation committee head, who had come out with this figure of inflation targeting at 4%. So MPC states that it is confident of maintaining the same. So what were the key figures that came into play in terms of changes that took place in the key rates? So key rates you must be knowing by now: repo rate, reverse repo rate. Then there is marginal standing facility, although that does not fall in the category of key rates. Then there is, you can have CRR, SLR, all these are reserve ratios. So the Reserve Bank of India kept the repo rate unchanged at 6.25%. 6.25%. 6.25% was the Reserve Bank of India's idea of keeping the repo rate unchanged. Whereas the SLR, the reserve requirement of statutory liquidity ratio, was cut down by 50 basis points, or you can say by 0.5%. So it came down to 20% and it will be effective from the 24th of June. Now what happened with these two changes? One was merely an announcement, not a change, that is the repo rate. And the second was the SLR cut. The SLR cut was by 0.5%. 0.5% of SLR cut means there might be more money available with the banks so that they are able to lend. Now this lending power with banks would certainly impact the money supply in the economy. And this impact of money supply in the economy would certainly impact the inflation in the economy. So which is why the predictions that were made for the second quarter, they were anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5%, right? Now what you need to understand is that the last monetary policy review that happened in April, at that point of time, the reverse repo rate and the marginal standing facility were changed in a different manner. So let me just give you a brief. When it happened in April, so it had revised, the RBI had revised the reverse repo rate by 0.25 basis points and it had got it up to 6%. So at that point of time, the reverse repo rate came up to 6% and the marginal standing facility was cut. It came down to 6.5%. Reverse repo rate at 6%, MSF at 6.5%, repo rate in between at 6%, 6.5, 6 and 6.25. So these were the three rates. Now the point is that normally what we saw in the earlier reviews, that there was always a 1% gap between repo and MSF. So if repo is X, MSF used to be X plus 1 and reverse repo used to be X minus 1. So RBI departed from this convention, or an unsaid convention I would say, where reverse repo was increased and MSF came down. So now the difference between the two was only 0.25 and 0.25. So 6.25, let's say it was repo rate. So MSF was only 0.25 higher and the reverse repo was 0.25 lower. These were the changes that happened. So these were the key changes that took place in April, and it was only an extension in this particular format, or right now, that you can say the SLR came down. So this would certainly impact the inflation because it would certainly impact the money supply. But there has been a certain change in the CPI inflation. So the new CPI inflation as per RBI projected for 2017-18 is anywhere between 2 to 3.5%, which is lower as compared to 4.5% that was projected earlier. So we are doing better in terms of CPI, or consumer price index inflation, and at 3.5 to 4.5% in the second half that I just discussed. तो इन्फ्लेशन पे जो इफेक्ट पड़ रहा है वो फर्स्ट हाफ में पॉजिटिव है, सेकेंड हाफ में रीजनेबल है. दैट इज गुड, राइट? दीज आर द की फिगर्स. नाउ this kind of monetary policy is termed as a neutral monetary policy. There are three types of monetary policies. One is expansionary, second is contractionary, and the third is neutral. Expansionary monetary policy is that whatever key rates have been adopted, वो सारे के सारे की रेट्स ऐसे अडॉप्ट किए जाते हैं जिससे कि मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई एक्सपैंड हो, बढ़े. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. सेकेंड, कॉन्ट्रैक्शनरी मीन्स दैट मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो, कम हो, कॉन्ट्रैक्शनरी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. दोनों के बीच में आपने कुछ अडॉप्ट करा है, उसे न्यूट्रल मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी का नाम दिया जाता है, वेयर इट वुड नीदर एक्सपैंड एज मच एज EMP, एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, nor it would contract as low as as low as contractionary monetary policy. So a cut in 0.5% of SLR wouldn't impact the monetary policy to a large extent, right? It would be a very small extent. So why has RBI adopted the neutral monetary policy stance? Let's have a look. The central bank had cited that there are quite many uncertainties surrounding inflation. When there are uncertainties surrounding inflation, you do not know that what kind of inflation there would be in future. So you refrain from taking any actions because your actions or RBI's actions would directly impact inflation. So it's better to go the neutral way. It's better not to take any action because you're not sure of inflation in future. So please make sure that this was done in the month of June when monsoon wasn't in a full flow. So you weren't even sure that would monsoon be proper, would the harvest be good, would there be sales, etc., etc. These things were not known. Hence it is called as inflation was uncertain. The second reason behind adopting a neutral monetary policy stance was that the current state of economy requires a more of private investment. So private investment needs to revive. As you may have seen around you that many businesses are slow, the real estate sector is slow, black money is going down, people are not able to spend money because they are not able to spend black money. So private investment is less. People are saving more than investing. So the private investment needs to be revived. So you cannot snatch away money from the hands of the public, right? So that is why that is also a reason. The third reason is that lower GVA, gross value added. Gross value added means that what kind of value add has been in the economy in terms of the goods and services which are provided, what has been the increase in the goods that are provided, right? All these things come within the GVA. So the gross growth of real GVA for 2016-17 was 6.6%, which was 0.1 percentage lower, right? 0.1 percentage lower, and this is I'm talking about last year, 16-17. And February 2017 has given more advanced estimates which are not very encouraging. Hence, if GVA is not encouraging, it means your production would be slow. And if the production is slow, you should not go with a monetary policy which is contractionary. You should not even go with special expansionary. So these are some of the reasons. I'm giving you very basic reasons in a very lucid and clear manner that how does neutral stance of monetary policy work. So these are some things that you need to remember, and this is, trust me, it was done in June, but the flow that comes in June, it was seen in the month of April as well as last year. So make sure that you see this, watch this video, understand it, the concepts, and you are able to apply it. Don't burden your brain too much, right? And again, a heartfelt thanks to all of you for making me reach a certain milestone vis-a-vis Unacademy. If you have any kind of queries, you can write to me on the Unacademy page. If you want to see certain amount of lessons, you can again write down in the comment section. Nice to join you for the live session, and thanks for joining me for the live session. Thank you so much. Bye.